Hey guys, this is your Unit 3.3 activity. We're going to go through some of these together and then you're going to do some on your own. What we have is our standard two slides with our answer tiles on the third slide. Now remember, if you do your math and work something out and the answer isn't on one of these tiles, we need to check the math. So we have, let's zoom in a smidge. We have different figures, with expressions. Some have measures, so we're just going to have to take it step by step. We are going to use our information here to solve for x and y. Some of these might just take 1 or 2 steps, and some of them might take 3 steps to solve through. So I'm going to work some math out on my notebook. So you need to go ahead and get a piece of paper, or maybe 2, and a pencil out, and we're going to start working through these together, okay? So for our first figure here, it shows us our first step on everything is you need to label your obtuse and acute angles. You can physically do this if you want to, or we can just go through and make sure. So we know that this one is an obtuse angle because it has a wide mouth on it. And we know this is an obtuse angle because it's got a wide mouth on it. Also, it's a vertical angle to this, and we already established that it's an obtuse angle. Our other angle down here is an obtuse angle. So when we solve for these, they're all going to have the same measure. But we're just looking for x and y right now. So what is our next step? Well, to be able to solve, we have to remember our rules. An acute angle plus an acute angle, an acute angle is going to equal an acute angle. An obtuse angle is going to equal an obtuse angle. And if we only have a obtuse angle and an acute angle, we're going to add those two together and set those equal to 180. So for this one, we also need to look at our variables, because on this top expression here, we have 15x plus 7, but then we have a y down here. And then on this expression, we have 17x minus 7. So we want to work with things that have like variables, because we won't be able to figure it out if we're trying to solve for x and y at the same exact time. So let's start with x, because we have 2 that have the x values. And we're going to set that up to say 15x plus 7 is equal to 17x minus 7. And we know that because these are 2 obtuse angles and they're congruent and they're going to have the same measure. So here we go. We have our equation written out here. 15x plus 7 is equal to 17x minus 7. So let's go through, and we want to combine our like terms and get our digits to one side and our x's to the other. So this is a negative 7. The best way to get rid of that is we're going to just add 7 to both sides. And that's going to give us 15x plus 14 equals 17x. Well, now we want to get our x's to one side. So our easiest way to do that is going to be, this is a plus 15x, so we're going to subtract 15x from both sides. And that's going to let us know that 14, broke my lead. 14 is equal to 17 minus 15 is 2, so 2x. Now we want to get this x by itself. So to get that, 2x is really like saying 2 times x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So 2x divided by 2 and 14 divided by 2 gives us our little x by itself down here. And then 14 divided by 2 is 7. So we know that x, that's a terrible x equals 7. So hopefully, if we go back over here to our answer tiles, Oh, good. There is a 7. So we know that we did something right. And we'll just put that right there because we just solved for x. Now, we've solved for x. We need to solve for y. But we can't just say, well, we have x now. We have to go in and we need a value for these for these angles. We need a measure value for these angles. So what we have to do is go in and substitute our 7 in for our x because we know that that's what it is. And then that will give us the actual measure of that angle. So I'm just going to use this 15x plus 7 and we'll see what we get. So 15x plus 7, and we know, so we have 15x plus 7. We know that this x is really 7. So it's going to be 15 times 7 plus 7. And 15 times 7 plus 7, if we use our handy dandy calculator, it gives us 112. So the measure of that angle is 112 degrees. Here's the cool thing. If this measure is 112 degrees here, this measure is 112 degrees here, and this measure is 112 degrees here. So if all of those are equal, we can say that y is equal to 112 degrees. That's our big equation that we had to do to solve for y. Woohoo! We're hard workers. So hopefully, if we come down here to our answer tab, there's going to be a little tile that says 112 degrees, and luckily there is one. So we'll paste that right in there. Not too bad. 2 equations, 2 answers. Let's go to the next one and see what we can figure out. So on this one, we have 3 parallel lines. 3 parallel lines. We know they're all parallel because they're all marked with parallel signature right here. And we are given an acute angle that's 77 degrees, an obtuse angle that's labeled x, and an acute angle that's labeled y. So we know that if one acute angle is going to be 77 degrees, then all the acute angles are going to be 77 degrees. So we have our other little acute angle down here. So we can say 3y minus 1 is equal to 77 degrees. So let's look at how that's set up. So we have 3x minus 1 equals 77. So our easiest way to do this is a negative minus 1, so we're going to add 1 to both sides. So 78 equals 3y. So 3y, that was terrible writing. 3y equals 78. So 3y is like saying 3 times y. The opposite of that is division. So we're going to divide each side by 3. And 78 divided by 3 is, using our handy dandy calculator, 26. So y is going to equal 26. So let's go over here and let's hope that we have a 26 tile. So we know we did something right. Oh, there it is. I like having the tiles because I know I can look for my answer, but at the same time, it stresses me out a little bit when I can't find them right off the bat. So now we've solved for x. Oh no, we solved for y. Sorry, guys. So we got 26 for y. Now we need to solve for x. Well, to do that, we know that this acute angle is 77 degrees. This acute angle is going to be 77 degrees. So we need to figure out how we're going to solve for this. So this is an obtuse angle. And we know that if we add an acute angle and an obtuse angle together, we're going to get 180 degrees. So we can go ahead and say that 77 plus x is going to equal 180 degrees. And so that gives us our acute angle plus our obtuse angle equals 180 degrees. So we have that right here. So the easiest way to do this is we're going to subtract 77 from both sides, and that's going to give us x equals 103. So we already solved for x in one swoop. So hopefully when we go over here to our tile, we can find a tile that has 103 on it, and we have it right here. Uh-oh. All right. So for our next one, we have two parallel lines. We have an acute angle that we were given the measurement of 65 degrees. We have an obtuse angle that's given us the expression y plus 9. And we have another obtuse angle that's given us the expression that it is 6x plus 7. So our first step is we know we have an acute angle and two obtuse angles. And we know that those obtuse angles are going to be equal to each other. But the problem here is they have two different variables. This one's a y and this one's an x. So we're going to have to use a two-step process here. So we know that an acute angle plus an obtuse angle is going to equal 180 degrees. So we're going to solve through for each of these back to back. So we know that this acute angle plus this angle is going to be 180 degrees, and we know this acute angle plus this obtuse angle is going to be 180 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and set both of those up. So 65 plus y plus 9 equals 180 degrees. And then 65, this is a separate equation, plus 6x plus 7 equals 180 degrees. Oh, where'd we go? Here we go. So let's focus on this one first. Let's focus on 65y plus 9 equals 180 degrees. Well, let's go ahead and let's combine our like terms. We still only have one y here. But 65 and 9 is 74 equals 180 degrees. So our next step is we want to get this y by itself. So this is plus 74. So to undo that, we're going to subtract 74. And so that's going to give us y equals 106. All right, so we solved for y. Now we're going to solve for x. So we have our acute angle plus our obtuse angle equals 180 degrees. So our first thing that we want to do is we would like to combine our like terms. So we have 6x plus 72, because 65 plus 7 is 72, equals 180 degrees. So what we want to do here is we want to get rid of the 72, so minus 72 and minus 72 on both sides. So that leaves us just with 6x here and 6x and 108. So 6x is really like saying 6 times x, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So 6x divided by 6 and 108 divided by 6, that'll leave us with our little x by itself. And I don't know off the top of my head what 108 divided by 6 is, but the calculator does, and it tells us that it is 18. So x equals 18. So let's go back over here And we said that x is 18. So do we have an 18? Oh, we do. So x is 18. Drag that over there. And then we said y is 106. So do we have a 106? I think we do. Our math is working out today. Except my dragon skills aren't on point today. All right, let's do this last one on this slide together, and then I'm going to set you off into the world and have you do the next slide on your own. So here we have two parallel lines. We're given this expression for one obtuse angle, which is 8x plus 40. We have another obtuse angle right here. They're obtuse because they have the wide mouths. Remember that. Is 26y minus 10. And then we have an acute angle here of 6x, just 6x. All right, so what we're going to do is we want to solve for x and y. So what's going to be our first thing that we want to look at? Well, we have three expressions, and only two of them have similar variables. So let's look at the ones with similar variables. And that's the x. So we have an obtuse angle and an acute angle. And we know that an acute angle plus an obtuse angle is equal to 180 degrees. So we can set 8x plus 40, 8x plus 40 plus 6x is equal to 180 degrees. Turn that on. There we go. So now we have 8x plus 40 plus 6x equals 180 degrees. So let's solve through. Well, our first thing is to do is let's combine our like terms. So let's get our x's together. So this gives us 14x plus 40 equals 180 degrees. That seems a lot simpler to work with than all that jumbledy. So our next step is let's get rid of this 40. So it's plus 40, so we're going to subtract 40 from both sides. That's going to leave us with 14x over here and 140 over here. So 14x is really like saying it's 14 times x, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 14 over here. We're going to divide by 14 over here. That's going to leave our x here, and 140 divided by 14 is 10. So we just solved for x. Great job. So we solve for x as 10. We can come over here, see, oh, here's our 10 right here. Oh no. Don't know why that would do that. There we go. Drag and drop skills are not on point today, you guys. So we have solved for x, but we still need to solve for y. Well, since we do not have another y to solve through, we're going to have to find the actual measure of one of these angles and then work through doing it like that. Well, we know we can solve the measure of this obtuse angle, and if we solve the measure of this obtuse angle, then it's going to equal the measure of this obtuse angle, and we can solve through. Or if you wanted to do it like this, we can solve through for the measure of this acute angle and set this angle plus this angle equals 180 degrees. Really, it's however you want to do it. For me, I prefer just to do the obtuse angle, and so we can just set them equal to each other and solve through. So what we're going to do is we need to solve for the actual measure of this equation. So we have 8x plus 40. So we have 8x plus 40, and we know that x is 10, so we're going to sub 10 in here. So 8 times 10 plus 40, and 8 times 10 is 80, plus 40 equals 120 degrees. So we know that this angle, this 8x plus 40, is 120 degrees. So if this angle, this obtuse angle, is 120 degrees, then this obtuse angle is going to be equal to 140 degrees. So now we can say that 26y minus 10 equals 120 degrees. And we can easily solve through for that. So down here, we've got 26y minus 10 equals 120 degrees. So let's solve through. So if this is minus 10, we're going to add 10 to both sides. So 26y equals 130 degrees. And 26y is really like saying 26 times y. And the opposite of that is division. So we're going to divide by 26 on both sides. And then I don't know what 130 divided by 26 is, but the handy dandy calculator does. And it tells me that it is 5. So we just solved through. On this one, we ended up having to do 3 steps. We had to solve for x, then we had to solve for the actual measure of the obtuse angle, and then we had to use that measure to be able to solve for y. So we have y equals 5, so hopefully over here on our answer tiles, we have a 5, and we sure do. And we're going to paste that in there. And we have solved for x and y on all of these figures using just the information that they've given us. Now, your turn. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 more figures and x's and y's to find. So, your job is to finish this slide and turn it in. And we will be, I'll check out what everybody's got going on. Monday, we are going to be doing a study guide for Unit 3. And Tuesday, we're going to be doing a quiz for Unit 3. So make sure that you've gone through all and completed all the digital notes. Make sure you've gone through and completed all the activities and turn those in. And get ready for to end this unit. So when we come back from Thanksgiving, we can start a new unit. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out. If not, have a great day.